Let us continue, but before that, we will recapitulate, right? So reach for the top, the first part that brings the story of Santosh Yadav, the Indian mountaineer, women mountaineer, how she had reached for her top, how she had reached the summit of Mount Everest, or how she had got success. There are various anecdotes which have been shared in this biographical sketch of Santosh Yadav, which do indicate that it was her determination, her passion, not only to reach that summit, but anything that she would be thinking to do in her life. She was passionate about it. She was determined about it. Then, of course, her physical strength and her mental toughness. All these have contributed to her success, right? So it was the culmination of that skills. It was a result of those skills that in 1992, she became the youngest woman mountaineer of the world, the youngest woman in the world who had reached Mount Everest. And a year later, in 1993, you will get to know, year later, she had again scaled Mount Everest. And in this way, she became the first woman of the world who had scaled Mount Everest twice. However, after her, many other women, they had scaled Mount Everest many a times, right? So here we continue with, so it was her, it was not only her physical skills and mental toughness which had contributed. Apart from that, we also learn a lot about her other personality traits. Just as, for example, she was very compassionate, very sympathetic and generous with her teammates. And she was popular about her generosity and about her concern for the people. Yes, here it is. During the 1992 Everest mission, Santosh Yadav provided special care to a climber who lay dying at the South Col. Just a minute before, I said that we had come to know at the other side of her character also, that is, she was very compassionate, very concerned for others. So here is an example how she had concern for others. During this first expedition to Mount Everest, she had provided extra care to her fellow climber who was almost dying at the South Col. South Col, col is what? Col is column. Column meaning it is a passage, it is a path between the glaciers and the hills, right? And South Col, here I have brought it for you people. The South Col is a sharp-edged col between Mount Everest and Lhotse. Lhotse, another fourth highest mountain in the world, respectively. The South Col is typically swept by high winds, leaving it free of significant snow accumulation. Extreme heavy winds, high winds blow there in the South Col. As a result, there is always the possibility of accumulation of heavy, thick snow. So sometimes the climber, they really find it a great challenge. If they escape it, fine. Those who are unable to escape, sometimes they are wrapped by the snow. And then when they are relieved of it, nobody knows. So it's really very challenging. So this particular fellow climber was stuck up there in South Column, and she had been giving her help, her care. She was trying to rescue him from this challenge. She was unfortunately unsuccessful in saving him. Unfortunately, she could not save him. And the fellow climber, he died. However, she managed to save another climber, Mohan Singh, who would have met with the same fate had she not shared her oxygen with him. But she could help another fellow climber, Mohan Singh, who needed oxygen. He was short of oxygen. She had her own oxygen. She shared her oxygen with that fellow. If she had not shared her oxygen, perhaps Mohan Singh also would have met the same fate, meaning he would also have collapsed. He would also have died like the other fellow climber. Now, what does it show? This shows how compassionate, how generous, how benevolent Santosh Yadav was. Otherwise, you see that there was the threat, there was the fear of shortage of oxygen for her as well. But she did not care about herself. That time she thought Mohan Singh needed, so she shared her oxygen with him. So do remember these two examples, okay? Within 12 months, Santosh found herself a member of an Indo-Nepalese women's expedition that invited her to join them. Indo-Nepalese Women's Expedition, this organization is still there, right? This organization, they had come to know and they had already seen that determination, that passion in Santosh Yadav. So once she had scaled Mount Everest, they invited her again to join them for another camp. That is, she had not completed just 1 year after reaching the Mount Everest. Within the same year, she was invited by the Nepalese Women's Expedition to join them. And it was a great privilege and opportunity for Santosh. And she was not going to miss this. She then scaled the Everest a second time, thus setting a record as the only woman to have scaled the Everest twice, and securing for herself and India a unique place in the annals of mountaineering. She immediately joined it after the rigorous training that she needed for the second expedition of Mount Everest. She went on it, and second time again, she had reached the summit. Second time again, she could conquer Mount Everest, and this time again she had created a record. What record? That she was the only woman by then who had scaled the Mount Everest twice. And in this way, she got the honor for herself to be recorded in the annals of mountaineering. In the annals of mountaineering, meaning in the history of mountaineering. Now you see that how her name has been recorded in the history of mountaineering. Yes, many women are there who have scaled Mount Everest more than 2 times now. There is one mountaineer from Ireland. She had scaled Mount Everest for 6 times. The last she had reached is in November 2019. But Santosh Yadav would always be remembered as the first woman who had scaled the Everest twice. Isn't it? So this is how she has made it historic for herself. In recognition of her achievements, the Indian government bestowed upon her one of the nation's top honors, the Padma Shri. The Indian government recognized her achievement. Of course, she had earned the name and fame not only for herself, for India as well, because everyone would say Indian mountaineer had scaled Mount Everest second time. So Indian government recognizing her achievements bestowed upon her, decorated her, honored her with one of the nation's most prestigious awards, that is Padma Shri. So she was decorated with Padma Shri, which is awarded by the President of India. Describing her feelings when she was literally on top of the world, Santosh has said, "It took some time for the enormity of the moment to sink in. Then I unfurled the Indian tricolor and held it aloft on the roof of the world. The feeling is indescribable. The Indian flag was flying on top of the world. It was truly a spiritual moment. I felt proud as an Indian. This is what has been quoted from one of her interviews. When she was asked how she was feeling, she described her feelings, that she felt that she was on the top of the world. The peak of the Mount Everest is the top of the world. And then she said it took some time for the enormity of the moment. Enormity is from enormous, vast, great, huge, right? So it was such a great moment that she said it was the enormity of the moment to sink in. It was such a great moment that it was difficult for her to believe, to understand that she had scaled Mount Everest. She is on the top of the world. She couldn't believe. She couldn't understand. She couldn't accept it first that really she had reached the top of the mountain. And then she unfurled the Indian tricolor. Then she hoisted the Indian flag on the top of the world and held it aloft, meaning held it high on the roof of the world. That is on the peak of Mount Everest. The feeling is indescribable. Indescribable, that cannot be described. So what she means to say that the feeling was so immense, it was so great, it was so deep that it cannot be described in words. The Indian flag was flying on the top of the world. This is a great moment, a great feeling, children, to see your flag on the top of the world. After Neeraj Chopra had come from Tokyo, in his interviews, he had said, and you people must have noticed also when he was standing on the victory stand, when Indian national flag was hoisted and Indian national anthem was played, how he had tears in his eyes. That is the greatness of the moment, because you feel so proud. You feel so proud. You have that sense of belongingness to your nation. You have that feeling of your own nationality that makes you feel proud. I remember, you must not be knowing, that the first cosmonaut of India, that is the squadron leader Rakesh Sharma, when he went to the space, Indira Gandhi from the earth, Indira Gandhi, the then prime minister, she asked him, "आप बताएंगे कि भारत वहां से कैसा लगता है?" And his prompt reply was, "सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा." So it was a proud moment, not only for Rakesh Sharma, not only for the prime minister, but for all of us, because we are all Indians. So yes, we agree with her when she says that the feeling is indescribable. How proud she must be feeling at that time that she has been successful. The Indian flag was flying on top of the world. It was truly a spiritual moment. It was truly a divine moment. How divine moment? Because at that time we think of God. We express our gratefulness, we express our gratitude to the Almighty. Thank God you gave me strength to meet this, to achieve this. So this is what she said. It was such a divine moment. I felt proud as an Indian. Being an Indian, she felt very proud to see her own flag falling on the top of the Mount Everest. Right? So this particular speech, this 10th passage is very important for comprehension. Also a fervent environmentalist, Santosh collected and brought down 500 kilograms of garbage from the Himalayas. a fervent environmentalist, true, sincere, like a sincere environmentalist. This depicts that she was so environment conscious. She must be carrying her own rucksack. The bag, have you ever seen the mountaineers carrying a heavy bag on their shoulders?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Right? That is called rucksack. Right? So that rucksack also must be carrying a lot of weight because they carry one or two, yes, the cloths and the wind cheater, lightweight, yet 2, 3 pots and a few eatables. So it becomes heavy. But despite that, while she had been climbing down, she had collected 500 kilograms of garbage. Now, the point here is how come the garbage on Himalayas? Who do you think litter the garbage on the Himalayas? Yes,
And the
children.
mountaineers.
Yes, the mountaineers. The mountaineers. All of them are not like Santosh Yadav. All of them are not environment conscious. How ruthlessly, how recklessly they will litter it here and there. But she, as a true environmentalist, she had collected that 500 kg of garbage. It's very difficult to carry, but she did. And then she brought it down. So that must be giving her definitely a contentment as her name goes by that she has contributed something to the environment of the earth. So this is the story of Santosh Yadav. Yes. Any problem in the story? Anywhere, any word, any phrase which is not clear? Any statement
No,
which
ma'am.
is not clear?
No, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So we'll discuss the questions, right? Yes. Yes, these are first 3 questions. Just browse at the questions for 1 minute, then I'm going to ask you the answers. Think of the answers. Yes, yes. Shall we discuss?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Why was the holy man who gave Santosh's mother his blessings surprised?
He was
Answer, please.
surprised. He was surprised because the society and the traditions people wanting a son, but the grandmother wanting him to bless the pregnant mother to have a daughter.
Right. Very good. So the holy man was surprised because there was the tradition or the custom prevailing, or it was the common belief that the people would welcome the birth of a boy child, right? But to his surprise, the grandmother had expressed the wish for a daughter, for a girl child, right? Okay, come to the next. Give an example to show that even as a young girl, Santosh was not ready to accept anything unreasonable.
When Santosh was small, she did not want to wear the traditional dresses
Right?
that girls wore because she wanted to wear shorts like boys.
Uh-huh. Right. She did not want to wear the traditional dress which the other girls wore. She just wanted to wear shorts, right? So she would do what she liked or what she thought was right. Now, here, one thing I tell you, because your answer is restricted to the paragraph number which is given. Okay. Otherwise, if let us say not paragraph 2, from the story itself, Can you think of another example to show that she was not ready to accept anything unreasonable? There is another example also. Just try to recall. She would not accept the traditional things when she finds them unreasonable. She would accept what is rational, what is reasonable. Yes, both of you? Just remember that all her brothers, they were sent to a Delhi school for further education, right? But
Yes,
she
ma'am.
was expected to go to a local village school, right? She refused to go to that school. And she had to oppose her parents and convince them. And she could convince them and started going to Delhi school, right? So all these examples you have to remember, okay? Yes. Why was Santosh sent to the local school? We just discussed.
Santosh was sent to the local school because at that time the girls were not given the same advantages as boys.
Good.
Even
Very
her
good.
family could afford to send the children to the best schools, but the father choose to send her in the local village school.
Right. Very correct. Very correct in answer you gave. Right. This advantage was not given to the girls. It was given to the boys to go to the other big schools. But the girls were supposed to go to the local school. This was the custom in the village. So Santosh was being sent to the local school, right? Okay. When did she leave home for Delhi?
Ma'am, from Santosh's childhood, she was curious to study more and more.
Yeah.
But at the time of 16 years of Santosh Yadav, her family members wanted to marry,
Right.
but she don't want to marry at that time. She want to study in the schools.
Right. Right. Yes. Correct. Yes. Vinayak, do you want to add something to this answer?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So she has given complete answer. So you would say that she was 16 when she had left home for Delhi because she wanted to study further, whereas the parents wanted to marry her. She opposed her marriage and went to Delhi to study. Why did Santosh's parents agree to pay for her schooling in Delhi? Yes.
Ma'am, because when she want to study in Delhi, but
Yes.
her parents refused to pay her fees, and then she decided to do a part-time job to pay her fees. But after that, the Santosh parents agreed to pay her fees.
Right. Here, the last part of the answer, Anmol, you will be adding a little bit more here. Okay. So you would say that this is right. You said that she went to Delhi for her further education. Since she had opposed the parents' idea of her marriage, they refused to pay her fee. Right. Then very formally but politely, she told her parents that she would manage to pay the fee by herself as she would be working part time. So that's how the parents, because they were affluent, they were wealthy enough, right? Then they agreed to pay for her schooling. What mental qualities of Santosh are brought into light by this incident? Yes.
Determination and courage.
Right, right. Avinav, you are welcome to the class. Yes, her determination. This reflects her determination, her willingness, and her passion. The whole lesson we read and we discussed that she was passionate about whatever she had decided to do. It was not simply, it was not a fuss that no, she was fussy about doing it. No, she was passionate about doing it. Right? So this incident brings out the personality traits of Santosh, that is her determination, her willingness, and her passion about studies or about education. I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
now let's go to the next questions. Yes, how did Santosh begin to climb mountains?
Ma'am, when she joined Maharani College in Kasturba Hostel, the Kasturba Hostel faced the Aravali Hills. And when the mountaineers go to the Kasturba Hostel to climb the mountain, she always curious to know where they go at the same time.
Okay, okay, fine. But Anmol, here you have to correct it that from Kasturba hostel they were not going to the hills, right? Oh, fine. Santosh would see through the window of her hostel room that the villagers they were climbing the hills and then they would disappear, right? So she became curious to know. Then she went there and explored and found out some mountaineers. Those mountaineers motivated her and encouraged her, and then she began to climb mountains. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Let me sum it up again. You would say that Santosh had started studying in Maharani College in Jaipur, where she was staying in Kasturba Hostel. Through the window of her room, she would often see the villagers climbing up the Aravali hills and then disappearing. This made her curious to know. So once she went to that place to find out where they would go, there she met only the mountaineers who motivated her, inspired her, or encouraged her. She got tempted, and that's how she began to climb mountains. Clear? Yes. Now you see that one thing I tell you, usually the children make mistakes in attempting answer. You people give the answer, but sometimes answer is not organized properly. Okay. So when you are answering such questions, children, please do remember the chronology of the events, the sequence of the events, right? What is happening first? So don't write number one, number two. Don't give the answers like social studies, but in your mind you keep number one, she went to college and stayed in Kasturba hostel. Number two, through the hostel, she could see the villagers climbing Aravali hills and disappearing. The point three, she was curious to know where they disappeared. Number four, she went there once to find out and met the mountaineers. Number five, these mountaineers, she got motivated and encouraged by the mountaineers, and she began to climb. Now you see in these 5 sentences you could give an answer, right? And your answer is completely organized. So do keep in your mind the sequence of the events, okay? Yes. What incidents during the Everest expedition show Santosh's concern for her teammates? Yes.
And when she climbed Everest, when the teammates stuck in a South Pole, and
Right.
she want to mm, save them, but she couldn't.
Right.
Another one is when Mohan Singh had short oxygen, she shared with him.
Right. Correct. Very correct. Right. So there were 2 incidents during this expedition that reflect Santosh's concern and her compassion for other teammates. One is, now again, you remember the points, okay? You write in the form of paragraph, but you remember the points. So the first point is that one of her fellow climbers he was dying between the South Pole. She was trying to save him, but unfortunately she could not help him. Number 2, at the same time, another fellow climber, that is Mohan Singh, also had the same condition. He was short of oxygen, so she shared her oxygen and could save him. And Santosh was admired and popular for her this benevolence and compassion. Is that clear? The words I am using, please note down these words, and you must use these words when you are describing the characters in one or the other way. Okay? Yes. What shows her concern for the environment?
Ma'am, the concern for her people with and colleagues also, Santosh was equally concerned for her environmental issues as a sincere environmentalist. When she went on her first expedition to the Everest, not only did she save the life of uh, teammates of her, but she also brought back 500 kg of garbage from Mount Everest.
Right, very right. So you would say that Santosh was a true environmentalist. She was so environment conscious that when she was returning after completing her expedition, after achieving her summit, when she was returning, she had found a lot of garbage littered by the mountaineers. She collected 500 kilograms of garbage and brought it down. So that shows her concern for the environment. How does she describe her feelings at the summit of the Everest? Okay, Abhinav, you have some mic problem? Right. Right. Okay. No problem. That's good that you are expressing yourself and you are participating in the discussion, Abhinav. Yes. How does she describe her feelings at the summit of the Everest? Yes, children. When she reached the Mount Everest, how did she feel?
She felt very proud.
Right.
And the first Indian mountaineer as woman to climb the mountain.
Okay. Yes, Vinayak, add your point, please. How did she feel?
This is so undescribable. to her.
Okay. I think Abhinav has sent his message answer. Yes, Abhinav says she said that her feeling was undescribable. Okay, right, very right. What else? You will sum it up. What has been given in 10th paragraph? Please get back to paragraph 10th. Yes, please read that first. Right, Vinayak. Vinayak said she was feeling very proud.
In describing her feeling when she was literally on top of the world.
Right. You see that you would say that she had got a divine feeling at the summit of the Everest. She could not believe finding herself on the top of the world, that she was on the top of the world. She felt very proud, or it was a proud moment for her to see Indian flag on the top of the world, right? And then she said that the feeling is undescribable, or it was such a great feeling. Why it was undescribable? Because it was such a great feeling. It was such a great moment. And what she felt at that time, she cannot describe, she cannot express in words. So ultimately, what it means that she was feeling very proud being an Indian. Right? Yes, Abhinav has added his input. The Indian flag on the top of the world was a spiritual moment for her. Yes, definitely. Good. Very good, Abhinav. Is that clear? Santosh Yadav got into the record books both times she scaled Mount Everest. What were the reasons for this?
Ma'am, because she was the first lady to climb Mount Everest twice.
Okay, this is one. What is another one? Before that, in 1992, when she scaled the Mount Everest, she got her name recorded in the annals of mountaineering. How? First time when she reached the summit.
And she was the youngest woman.
Right. This is what Abhinav has sent his answer. She was the youngest woman in the world to reach Mount Everest. And second time, she got recorded her name in the annal of mountaineering because she was the only woman by that time who had scaled Mount Everest twice. Is that clear? So again, you remember the sequence. First, you will say that she was the youngest woman to scale Mount Everest. She was just 20 when she scaled Mount Everest, right? And second time, she got her name in the annals in the history of mountaineering because she was the only woman at that time who had scaled Mount Everest twice. I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now complete the following statements. Okay. From her room in Kasturba hostel, Santosh used to
See the Aravali hills.
Right.
And the villagers who climbed the Everest.
Right. She used to watch, or she used to see the Aravali hills and the villagers climbing the hills and then disappearing. Okay. When she finished, there is an answer. Yes, watch the villagers, right? Watch the villagers will not make it complete, Abhinav. Watch the villagers climbing the hills and then disappearing, right? When she finished college, Santosh had to write a letter of apology to her father because
Because she goes to she enrolled her in a Utkarshi college.
Mhm.
The permission of her parents.
Because she went straight for the training to Uttarkashi's Nehru Institute of Mountaineering, right? And she did not take permission from her father. She did not meet him because there was no time. All right. Yes, during the Everest expedition, her seniors in the team admired her. What did they admire? Yes. What did they admire in her? They admired her physical strength, mental toughness, right? And her climbing skills. They admired her climbing skills, physical strength, and mental toughness. While Dash endeared her to fellow climbers. What is it for which she was loved by her fellow climbers?
While
Yes.
concern for her fellow climbers.
Yes, while showing her concern for them, or while working as a team, working together with them, this endeared her to fellow climbers. Is that right? I got 4 answers here. Let me see. Yes, just a minute. Okay, Abhinav has given the answers. Admire her climbing skills, physical fitness, desire, yes, willingness, passion. Okay, come to the 4th exercise now. You have to give the words from the paragraphs. These are given the meaning. Took to be true without proof. Took to be true without proof. We think that it can be true.
Assume.
No, not assume here. Took to be true without, just a minute, took to be true without proof. Yes, yes, it should be assumed. Right, absolutely right. Sorry, assumed. Based on reason, sensible or reasonable. Yes, based on reason. See, paragraph 2, it was very clearly given there.
Rational.
Right, absolutely right. The usual way of doing things. Usual way of doing things. We have the practice of doing such things in our society.
Custom.
Custom, right? Custom. A strong desire arising from within, which Santosh Yadav had. And parents, they have got used to now, seeing that strong desire. Yes, that's right, custom. Okay, a strong desire. See paragraph 5. Yes, urge. Right, Abhinav. It's urge. The power to endure without falling ill.
Mental toughness.
The power to endure without falling ill. Mental toughness, no. It's not mental toughness. Yes, right,
Resistance.
Abhinav, it's resistance. Yes, it can be resistance, it can be endurance also. The power to endure is endurance. Is that right? Now you see that what it is, we have completed part 1. Now there can be a long question. Long question is usually generalized. Okay, there can be taken up any particular statement or a line from this biographical description of Santosh Yadav, and you can be told to give your own comment, right? Just as for example, if I say that after reading Santosh's story, I feel that if you have the grit and determination, passion and willingness to do something, you can reach for the top. And then you are told to elucidate this. To elucidate meaning to explain this, right? So here, you know that in these kinds of questions, children, I think your last question in literature part would be this question I'm talking about. Is it 4 marks or 5 marks? 5 marks this time, I think. Has the teacher told you anything about it?
No, ma'am.
No, not yet. Just a minute, let me check. I will just check. Oh, no, it will take time. Anyway, I'll see and then I will confirm and tell you. But earlier it was 6 marks. Now I think it is 5 marks. So in this 5 marks question, no, at least 3 to 4 paragraphs you have to write. And in the first paragraph, you will explain the statement given in the question. In the second paragraph, you will give your views about it, what you think. Is it really true? How you are going to prove that what you think? You will give an experience. You will describe an experience of you, an anecdote from your life. If not from your life, from anybody's whom you know very well. But realistic examples, if you give, you always get extra marks from the examiner. Do remember. All right. The examiners are always instructed to give extra marks to such children. Now, in the last paragraph, then you have to give an example that for which you can relate to the same lesson. You can also relate to some other book you have read, or you have come across in the newspaper, or you have seen it in a TV serial or in a film. You can discuss. When you are giving these anecdotes, children, you know what impression does it leave on the examiner? This is the examination tip I'm giving you. Examiner has the impression that you understand it very well. This reflects your comprehensibility and your perception of the idea. That definitely impresses the examiner, and examiner does give special marks. Then where you lose the marks? If you lose, you mainly lose the marks in grammatical mistakes, right? So be careful about it and try to do it. I will give such questions to you. Let me just find out the weightage of that very questions. Attempt those questions, share with me, post, I'll check, no problem, right? But you people can easily 5 marks question. Your answer is completely right. The grammatical errors are there. Still 3 marks definitely you will get. Because 5 markers में हम 4 marks highest देते हैं. कई teachers बहुत lenient होते हैं तो 4.5 भी देते हैं. But we don't give. As per my own experience, for so many years I've been corrected. I would not give more than 4. Right? Board exam में 4.5 भी दे देते हैं. So you have to prepare yourself for the board examination that you are going to face next year. Okay? Wish you all a very happy Dashera. Enjoy it, celebrate, but please take care that you are safe. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Happy Dasara.
Thank you.
Happy Dashara, ma'am.
Thank you very much.